Good morning. This is Pastor Jeff. It is Monday, June 27th, 2022, and we are going to be doing our daily lectionary readings. We are in Psalm 140 for our psalm reading, Genesis 24, 34 through 41, then 50 through 67 is our Old Testament reading. Then our New Testament reading comes from the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verses 7 through 11. Let us listen in to our scriptures for today. Psalm 140. God, get me out of here, away from this evil. Protect me from these vicious people. All they do is think of new ways to be bad. They spend their days plotting war games. They practice the sharp rhetoric of hate and hurt. Speak venomous words that maim and kill. God, keep me out of the clutch of those wicked ones. Protect me from these vicious people. All boast and swagger. They plot ways to trip me up, determined to bring me down. These crooks invent traps to catch me and do their best to incriminate me. I prayed, God, you're my God. Listen, God, mercy. God, my Lord, strong Savior, protect me from when the fighting breaks out. Don't let the wicked have their way, God. Don't give them an inch. These troublemakers all around me. Let them drown in their own verbal poison. Let God pile hellfire on them. Let them bury them alive in crevices. These loudmouths, don't let them to be taken seriously. These savages, let the devil hunt them down. I know that you, God, are on the side of the victim, that you care for the rights of the poor, and I know that the righteous personally thank you, that good people are secure in your presence. Our Old Testament reading comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 24, verses 34 through 41. The servant said, I'm the servant of Abraham. God has blessed my master. He's a great man. God has given him sheep and cattle, silver and gold, servants and maidservants, camels and donkeys. And then, to top it off, Sarah, my master's wife, gave him a son in an old age, and he has passed everything on to his son. My master made me a promise. Don't get a wife for my son, from my daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I live. No, go to my father's home, back to my family, and get a wife for my son there. I said to my master, but what if the woman won't come with me? He said, God, before whom I've walked faithfully, will send his angel with you, and he'll make things work out so that you'll bring back a wife for my son, from my family, from the house of my father. Then you'll be free from the oath. If you go to my family and they won't give her to you, you will also be free from the oath. And it continues in verse 50. Laban and Bethuel answered, This is undeniably from God. We have no say in this matter, either yes or no. Rebekah is yours. Take her and go. Let her be the wife of your master's son, as God's made plain. When Abraham's servant heard their decision, he bowed in the worship before God. Then he brought out gifts of silver and gold and clothing and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave expensive gifts to her brother and mother. He and his men had supper and spent the night. But the first thing in the morning they were up, and he said, Send me back to my master. Her brother and mother said, Let the girl stay a while, say another 10 days, and then go. He said, Oh, don't make me wait. God has worked everything out so well. Send me off to my master. They said, We'll call the girl. We'll ask her. They called Rebekah and asked her, Do you want to go with this man? She said, I'm ready to go. So they sent them off, their sister Rebekah with her nurse, and Abraham's servant with his men. And they blessed Rebekah, saying, You're our sister. Live bountifully, and your children triumphantly. Rebekah and her young maids mounted the camels and followed the man. The servant took Rebekah and set off for home. Isaac was living in Negev. He had just come back from a visit to Bir Lahai Roi. In the evening he went out into the field. While meditating, he looked up and saw camels coming. When Rebekah looked up and saw Isaac, she got down from her camel and asked the servant, "Who is that man out in the field coming towards us?" "That is my master." She took her veil and covered herself. After the servant told Isaac the whole story of the trip, Isaac took Rebekah into the tent of his mother Sarah. He married Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac found comfort after his mother's death. Our New Testament reading comes from the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verses 7 through 11. My dear friends, I'm not writing anything new here. This is the oldest commandment in the book, and you've known it from day one. It's always been implicit in the message that you've heard. On the other hand, perhaps it is new, freshly minted as it is in both Christ and you. The darkness fading away and the true light already blazing. Anyone who claims to live in God's light and hates a brother or a sister is still in the dark. It is the person who loves brother and sister who dwells in God's light and doesn't block the light from others. But whoever hates is still in the dark, stumbles around in the dark, doesn't know which end is up, blinded by the darkness. Here ends our readings for the day. I hope you have a beautiful start to the week.